checking every single box on an application doesn't mean that like we shouldn't be in there, like, you know, putting ourselves forward for positions that we feel like we could, you know, crush. And like, and I've definitely grown over the course of the last 4.5 years. I started and I came into Kate Spade specifically under a product lens, which is where I did have a little bit of experience in doing product training with women's cooperatives in Rwanda. That's what I was doing with Indigo Africa. But in terms of learning the corporate landscape and how the product development cycle works on the New York side of any type of fashion brand, that was something that I had to learn like really, really quick, and I was just learning by doing. And I think what was so helpful for me was establishing strong relationships with my design partners, with my merchandising partners, with my buying partners, with my product development partners, and making sure that, you know, I wasn't a know-it-all. Like, I was actually asking questions because I genuinely didn't know, but they were part of that process then, right? So it wasn't me coming in, you know, telling them how to do good. They were helping me figure it out. And I feel like that was something that was so incredibly important. And then when I transitioned over to do more of the marketing and social impact measurement and evaluation portfolio, that was about 2 years ago, I kind of was back in square one again. I was learning about corporate marketing. I was learning about the ways in which our brand was communicating to our customer, what worked, what didn't work. We had a lot of learnings with On Purpose. There were some things that we were doing at the front end that was just not resonating with our customer, and we had to go back to square one and kind of rethink how we were talking to her about what On Purpose is and how we're doing that. And again, it was kind of like being back in that in the early years of Kate Spade when we were collectively coming together to solve a problem. I think that that's something that social entrepreneurs do very, very naturally. That's very easy for them. And so it was definitely bringing in some of those like social entrepreneurship skill sets to work with my internal partners to make them part of the process, because like I wasn't going to be able to solve these challenges on my own. I didn't know the answers to them. So, and now kind of transitioning to leading the team, that's something that I transitioned into over the course of this past summer. I use a lot of I really, really value the tenets of servant leadership. I have a mentor within the company who actually is now my boss, who also very much values the tenets of servant leadership. And we talk about that all the time. And it's something that I think is really rare in corporate America to find a leader who really inhibits those types of qualities. I think of John Mackey at Whole Foods, who's somebody that I think just totally embodies that through and through. Eileen Fisher, I think that she totally embodies that, the servant leadership tenets through and through as well. And, you know, you find leaders like that who are successful, you know, in the, maybe not fashion, Whole Foods isn't fashion, but it's consumer-facing product, right? And it's finding those folks that you have what you want. And that's the type of leader that I want to be and that I'm learning to be. But servant leadership really helps me to think about my role, because then it also just acknowledges that like you don't have all of the answers. Like you're not going to know everything, but you can ask the right questions that help you to get to those solutions and help your team get to those solutions, which is really the role that I feel like I have now. Yeah, I lead the team, but I feel like my role is really in serving, you know, the women that I work with, the 4 ladies that I'm working with every day, as well as my partners in Rwanda, and helping us to charge a pathway forward that's collective and that's organic and that is innovative and that is fun. Like that's the one thing too, like, you know, this is all sounding like so technical even when I'm talking about it, but like it's like a darn good time. Like I really value the people that I work with. And we have a good time together, and it's important to prioritize that too, because, you know, we work really hard. We're super passionate about what we do, and you need to have a little bit of fun because you're dedicating a lot of your time, your awake time, to you know to this work. And I like to think that like we have a pretty good time while we're doing it too. So I think that's important.
That's great. But tell me about a day-to-day in your life. Is it that you're jetting off to Rwanda and talking to suppliers? Is it you're thinking about pricing? Is it that you're trying to convince people internally about what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know, what is that? How do you make that successful?
In terms of trying to convince people internally, I spend 0% of my time doing that. It's On Purpose is such a part of our culture at Kate Spade, and I'm not saying that like to be like to sound like a commercial, like it really is. I really dedicate none of my time to that. In terms of what my day-to-day is, it's costing. It's a lot of costing. We're hyper-focused on making sure that we're on a pathway to having very successfully commercial product in our store and online. And a lot of that is designing a line architecture every season that supports our long-term growth strategy, as well as delivering the type of product that our customer wants. And then balancing what ADC needs from an order perspective in order to continuously improve their productivity, as I mentioned before, and meet kind of that seasonal number that they need to keep their lights on. When we started working at ADC, we prepaid them 30 days in advance, right? So that they could actually, they had no capital. They had zero capital. They were a startup business. Now we're paying them about 30 days post, which is pretty normal. It can be up to 60 days for some of our suppliers, but so, we are hypersensitive to costing. I would say I spend about like 50% of my week actually looking at product assortment, looking at costing, talking about future seasons and what our product strategy is going to be that supports what the brand needs and what ADC needs. You have to balance both of those. The other part of my time is definitely spent on capacity development. So working with one of our consulting partners that's based in Rwanda on developing capacity development programs for our management. That's for ADC's management, and making sure that they're receiving the training and support that they need, because there's only so much that we can provide in not being there every day. And we need to be realistic about that. Like Kate Spade isn't we're not going to solve all of their problems. We're going to have to bring in partners to help us to be able to offer the types of training that the management and the ladies and men that work there actually need. So I do spend a good amount of time on that. And then I would say the other portion of it also is marketing. I really love that I work for a brand that knows how to storytell, and we tell really beautiful, impactful stories to our customer. And I think we've just started to tell the on-purpose story. I mean, International Women's Day last year was our first big moment that we've had, and I really appreciated that about Kate Spade. We weren't like singing from the rooftops when we launched this program, because we needed to make sure that it worked. And it took us about 2 years to be able to do that. And now we know that it's financially viable. We know that it's creating social good. And so now we're really starting to talk to our customer base around it, and she's responding really well. So I feel like we've just started to do that. We're just hitting the tip of the iceberg with that. So I'm really excited about being able to deepen that relationship with our customer and tell the story to her. And not even to tell the story to her, but to deliver a brand experience in a different way than what she had been coming to us before. And I think that that's really, really exciting for our portfolio of the business to be able to offer that, and nobody else can. So that gets me like super jazzed.
Right.